Okay, let's take a few minutes to learn one of the simplest programs, which is kind of the cornerstone of learning coding in Python. I'm going to show you, and you'll see how simple it is, how to write a hello world program in Python. It may sound overwhelming for those of you that know nothing about it. For those of you that know a lot about it, it may seem overly simplistic. But for those of you that would like to know and that don't know, I'm going to show you right now. Here we go. So let's jump into a very simple but fundamental program that is just critical to know and understand as you begin your journey into learning Python. So as you can see, I've opened up IDLE, IDLE, Interactive Development and Learning Environment. Now in IDLE, you can play around, but what you can't do is write a program that you can save and actually run. This is more of a place to experiment, to see how things work, and to run ideas. If you want to use it as a calculator, you could do that. However, what we're going to do is something different, which is writing a program, our first coding experience, and we're going to write a program which we'll simply call Hello World. So in order to start with this, right now we're in the idle shell. We need to leave the shell. We're not actually going to close the shell, but we're actually going to open a file. We're going to start a new file, which you can see here. And let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we're going to do is, let's just go ahead and make a little note at the top, which 3 quotes allows you to type in what you'd like, and it's not going to have any negative effect on the program itself. So let's just call this Hello World. I'm writing in snake case, as you can see. That's the little underscore here. And I will warn you, I'm not the most accurate typer the first time around. Hello World, my first program. Okay. And you can type whatever you'd like, and when you're done, you're just going to close this up. This allows you to more easily track what you're doing. That will not have any negative impact on the program. We're going to skip just a couple lines down. Now, the first thing we're going to do is define the function called main in exactly this way, def space main, and you'll see the open and close parentheses with a colon. It has to be exactly that way. That is critical. What you're basically doing is you're defining a function that's going to do something specific. Now, this is the core program function. As you get more advanced in coding, you'll create different functions that will work in concert with the main function. So we're actually creating a function. This program is very simple. It's going to have one function, and the function is simply going to be to print hello world. Now, I just press enter, and you'll see where the cursor is on line 8. It's very important the cursor is there. What you don't want to do as you're coding is experiment with different spacing, and something starts here and something else starts here and something else starts here. The spacing is very important, and because of that, we're going to follow the default setting, which is right here. How many spaces is that? That's 4 spaces, which is a nice standard to follow. 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. But what's nice is idle does it for you. If you simply press return, it's already moved to the 4th space. Now, spaces matter. So if you were to leave empty white spaces all over the place like this, you may not think that they're there, but as you'll notice when I put my cursor here, there are still white spaces, and those can cause problems and they're style issues. So we don't want to leave a bunch of spaces. So I'm actually deleting spaces that you can't see, but they are there. So we want it nice and clean. So just to start over, because we've experimented a little bit, we put our notes up here, whatever we want to say. You can put something else in here. You can put the year, whatever you might want to do, etc., etc. So let's keep it simple for now, and we will get started. So we're going to go down 2 spaces, which is a nice standard to follow, proper style, and we're defining the main function. We're going to press return, and we're going to use the print command. It is case sensitive. Python is case sensitive, so it can't be this. That's not going to work. It's got to be exactly that. We're going to open parentheses, and when we're printing a string, which is basically something that is not numeric, for example, it could be numeric, but it also could be letters, and it could be all kinds of things, whatever it is you want. I don't know what I just typed. That's random. Here we go. So we're going to open quotes, which, by the way, could be this style quote, single, and it could be this style quote, double. We're going to go ahead and stick with double quotes. Hello world, and we're going to close quotes. That's very important. If you don't close quotes, this is not going to work. You're going to get an error. Also, if you close quotes with a different style quote, such as the single, since we started with the double, we must end with the double. What's the purpose of a single and double? Well, if you wanted to put something in the middle, for example, that would be the purpose of single and double. So we're hello world. Now, what have we done wrong? We've done something serious wrong, which is we didn't close the parentheses. That which is open must be closed. There we go. Will it work now? It will not work now. If you run it, absolutely nothing will happen. Let's go ahead and try running this module, and it's going to say, oops, you got to save it. Should we save it? Yes, but it doesn't know where to save it. So what we're going to do is we're going to save it, and we're going to create a file. Actually, we're creating a folder, hello world, and we're going to save the name of this as, and I recommend snake case just to get used to the world of coding. Snake case is often used, especially in Python. Here we go. So hello world. So now it's saved. Now the great news is this program just ran. And what happened? Nothing happened. Absolutely nothing happened. Why did nothing happen? Well, nothing happened simply because there was no call to our actual function. So let's go back. Okay, so here we are back at our program, and this is the problem. When we finished coding, we defined a function, but we actually have to call the function. And without calling the function, unfortunately, nothing will happen. And so we're going to space down 2 spaces, and we're simply going to type main. And now we're calling the function. As we run it, you will see now it will require us to save it again, which always must be done. And still nothing happened. We made one more mistake. What is that mistake? Can you guess? This is the mistake that we made. Main must be, and this is where I said that spaces matter. It's got to be over here. And so what this is going to do is this is calling the function we defined here. We defined the function called main, and once main is called, typed in, executed, this will activate, which will print hello world. So let's go ahead and try this again. We do have to save it again, and it will run. Oh, there it is. Hello world. It worked. Our first program, we did it. As you can see, it's quite simple, and that's the program. So you can go ahead and try this at home without any risk. Now, also, I want to mention it's important to have this extra space at the end. Without it, it will still run, but it is proper style to end with this space, just to make that point. So you can go ahead and explore now, and you can print whatever you'd like to print, and you can experiment with it and run it as many times as you like. Now you've written your first code, which is hello world. Congratulations. So when you're done, you'll save the program, and you'll simply exit idle shell. And one thing I want to mention is while you're in idle shell, let's say you were to type in x equals 10, and the definition of x, well, x is equal to 10. So there's 10. You can print x, and it's going to give you the same thing. That's x. That's what x is. Now, once you close idle shell and you open it again, x is no longer equal to 10. X will be nothing. If we wanted to delete x right now, x is nothing. So this is what would happen if you typed in x after closing and opening idle shell in the future. Okay, so as you've seen, now you've learned how to code. And yes, it is simple, it is straightforward, and as you can see, anybody can do it. That's the first step we're going to build from here on out, but now you know how to do the very famous and the quite essential on your initiation into the world of coding, Hello World in Python. Please click subscribe. Talk to you soon.